So we have a lot of early risers. This is great. I hope you had a wonderful day yesterday, and let's see if we can replicate that for the excitement for you. This morning, in fact, we have a great start. Can't be better than this. Somebody who is no stranger to this crowd, to this conference, and to science. She's not a friend of science. She is a champion for science. And she's a scientist herself. And the most important thing, she's a member of Parliament, and she's the founder of the Research and Science Committee in the House of Commons for the first time after 150 years or so. Is that right? So we have Honorable Kirsty Duncan with us this morning, providing remarks for us, and we are quite honored and happy to see what's happening at the Research and Science Committee. Kirsty, welcome back to the Science Policy Conference. The last time that you were with us was 2018. Unfortunately, 2019 was the election year, so we couldn't have you, and then pandemic hit. So we had you virtually in different sessions and interviews. And thank you very much for being with CSPC all along, supporting the science community. And we always pleased and honored to have you with us. Thank you. There you go.
Oh, wow. Good morning, everyone, and it is so good to see you all. I miss you. I love this crowd. I look around the room. I see wonderful friends. I see that we've got John Holdren up from the United States. Actually, I look around each table, and there are friends and science leaders in this country. So thank you for the kind invitation to join you. Mayor Dad, thank you for your tireless work in bringing together the science community across the country. We know, all of us know, that you work most of the year to bring a week of science, discussion, celebration, and inspiration to Ottawa. And I want you to know, members of Parliament feel the energy of this conference. I have heard repeatedly that it's Science Week on the Hill. Isn't that great? And while I love to hear this, I want to always make sure that all of you have a permanent place to talk about the issues that are important to the science and research community, that members of Parliament are engaged on what matters to you, and that science advice is available to Cabinet. And friends, after 155 years, we have this. We have a permanent standing committee on science and research in the House of Commons. It took me 6 years to make this happen. I had to put forward a motion in the House of Commons to create the committee, and I had to convince members of Parliament that this was the right thing to do. I explained that science is not a club. It's not for a select few. Science is for everyone, and that Canadians should have better access to the science and research they fund, because science and research provide our best hope for solutions to improving health, addressing the climate crisis, jump-starting economic growth, and growing jobs. And Canadians should hear about science and research through a permanent standing committee in the House of Commons. I wanted them to know that science is a fundamental building block of Canada that everyone has a stake in. And in a politically charged environment, in a polarized world, science, evidence, and fact offer shared understanding and common ground. That we needed all sides of the House, all members of Parliament, fighting for fundamental and applied science and research. That we needed to take a stand and say we had learned from COVID-19, that we had finally learned what we always learned following a pandemic, namely that science, research, and public health matter, and not just when we are in crisis. I made the case that research institutions have a crucial role to play in both research and policy, in reviewing pandemic response, and helping to define lessons to ensure we are better prepared for a future pandemic, and in evidence-based policy. From a political perspective, science, research, and public health cannot just be hot or on government agendas during the pandemic and the next few years. Rather, they require continual attention, nurturing, and support for a better future, environment, and quality of life for all. I explained that if they voted for the motion, we had a chance to acknowledge our responsibility to protect science and research. Science and research needed a permanent place in Parliament, where issues that are important to the research community, Canadians, and the future. Okay, I'm starting to think it's me. You have to understand this is my second one this week. Canadians and the future of the country could be studied, where scientists, researchers, and parliamentarians could come to know one another, where parliamentarians could get a better understanding of science and research, where Canadians could learn about Canada's research strengths in areas such as computer science applications, fuel cells, neurodegeneration, personalized medicine, bioinformatics, and regenerative medicine, and where parliamentarians could learn about what is needed to make improvements and yield benefits to Canadians. It was time for scientists, researchers, and students to at last be given to the keys to the people's house. It was long overdue and critically important to building the future Canadians deserve. And I was clear that science and research have always mattered, and that they will matter more than ever beyond the pandemic. And I made the case that science and research are a public good that we must all protect, and that we had an opportunity to do something really significant, an opportunity to embed science and research into one of our most important democratic institutions and build a better future for all Canadians. Colleagues, friends, I want to thank you. It really is me. Every time they don't like something. Colleagues, friends, first of all, I want to recognize all of you. I want to celebrate the work you do each and every day. And I want to thank you for your support for that motion and your outreach to members of Parliament. Your work, and it was your work, gave us a unanimous vote in the House of Commons. All political parties, all members of Parliament voted for the motion to create that committee. And I want to thank all political parties as well. Because of your hard work, we have an inaugural permanent standing committee on science and research. And friends, we have all sides of the House at the table talking about science and research across the country. That's a first. I have the privilege of serving as the inaugural chair. My job is to keep the conversation going, to make sure everyone has a chance to be heard. And I see some of our members here. Lena, you're here. That's wonderful to have you this morning. And I am a nonpartisan referee or umpire. That means I cannot speak on behalf of the committee and its members. I must always remain neutral. So when I meet with the research community or speak at an event, I'm always clear that I speak as a member of Parliament and not the chair of the committee. I do want you to know that you have dedicated committee members. They are genuinely interested, and I hope you will get to know them, share your ideas, and what you need help with. I also hope you'll thank them for their work and that you will build the relationships. As a member of Parliament, I explained to the research community that it's not easy to get a permanent standing committee off the ground. It takes hard work, just like planning an experiment or an expedition. And right now, we're just starting. We are bringing together two communities, the research community and the political community, in the hopes of fostering and strengthening the relationship for the benefit of all. But let me be clear, countries like Germany, the United Kingdom, the United States, and Japan have had an all-party science committee for a very long time. And while governments and ministers change through time, having a permanent standing committee offers stability, continuity to the science and research community, and the opportunity to dig deeper and deeper into issues over time. Colleagues, friends, just like when you work in the field or in the lab, you have to have the right manual and the right tools. The Permanent Standing Committee is a new process that is available to you. And I would encourage you to find out about how committees work so that we can better support you. Because more than ever, the world needs science. Science impacts each of our lives. It improves education and quality of life, extends and saves life. I'll just finish by talking a bit about science engagement. We must foster all children's natural-born curiosity through elementary school, high school, and beyond. We must inspire children and young people to wonder, to question, to ask why, what, if, and how, to build, to design, to invent, and explore. They will be the future of science and the future of a society that respects and values the products of science. Engagement will help build diversity of thought, diversity of experience, and a culture of curiosity. We know that a diversity of perspectives generates great science, improves creativity, problem-solving abilities, innovation, and improves accuracy of clinical trials. It's time to complete unfinished business. Friends, there are not enough words to say thank you for everything that you do. And like you, I've devoted my life to science and to making science better by inviting everyone into the classroom, the lab, the field, and into Parliament. We need to build this relationship. We need more researchers to run and to have a seat in Parliament. I'm going to finish by speaking scientist to scientist. And what I'd really like to do is speak to early career researchers. I want you to know that I see you. I want you to know that I hear you, and I see your creativity, intelligence, and incredible potential. And I know there are hard days in research. Anyone who's a researcher knows the highs and the lows. Dare to dream your greatest dream. If that means science, chase that dream, and don't let anyone or anything get in your way. And remember, we're here to support you. Come see us at the committee. Come meet our members of Parliament, and to our early career researchers, remember, impossible is a dare. Thank you.
Thank you so very much, the Honorable Duncan. I know it's very hard. We won't make it harder for you. Was a champion of science who have made foundational changes during the time that she was Minister of Science. And we can see that she's as committed as before and making foundational changes as a Member of Parliament and as the Chair of the Science and Research Committee. Thank you very much for spending your morning with us.
Wouldn't have missed it, Mayor Dad.
We look forward to see you next year. Thank you. Thank you.